I accidentally called Ethan while my little brother was trying on a new sweater. Too small. Can't get it on. No way. I bought it in your size. It's stuck. Easy. Ow. 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 Okay. Okay. I'm helping you. I gave it a hard tug and cooed. There you go, sweetie. See. Big sister's got you. You sure? He tugged at the sweater, choking his neck, gasping for air. Later, I heard Ethan took a mysterious call during a meeting. And his face got darker by the minute that he didn't say a word, just chewed out all 28 department heads until they cried that, and why brother pointed at my phone. That's when I noticed the call was still connected. The screen brightly displaying Ethan. I grabbed the phone to explain, but all I got was a dial tone. He'd hung up within seconds. A text arrived. Get your ass back to work if you're well enough to fooling around without doing your job. You're not the CEO's wife to act this entitled. The punctuationless message played in my head in his signature calm, icy tone that he must have heard me talking energetically to my brother and assumed I was slacking off while recovering. Damn capitalist, that I fired back. Understood, Mr. Bois. Resuming tomorrow. This shows an indication that the other party was typing a message that popped up, but nothing came through. Probably wanted to yell at me but held back. That man never hesitates when he wants to rip someone apart, but in 4 years working for him, this was my first leave, and a sick leave at that. The next morning, Ms. Smith took one look at me and warned. Tread carefully. He went nuclear yesterday, made all the VPs cry. I timed it perfectly, brewed coffee, knocked on his office door, and handed him the day's schedule. Good morning, Mr. Bois. Today's agenda: 2 routine meetings, dinner with Johnson Group tonight. He didn't touch the coffee. Long fingers rested on the desk as he said coldly, have the new girl, Zheng, accompany me tonight. You're excused. Why? Yes, sir. I'll brief her. I swallowed my questions and retreated. He hates subordinates questioning his decisions or prying. After collecting myself, I approached Ava. When she heard the news, she dramatically covered her mouth, eyes glistening. Emma, oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I'm just so excited. Ms. Smith swooped in, stirring the pot. Look at E. Barely filled in for a week and already stealing her mentor's spot. Ava simpered. I still have so much to learn from Emma, but Mr. Hua is so gentle. Gentle. I exchanged baffled looks with Ms. Smith. I'd hired Ava a month ago after scheduling my surgery, though Ms. Smith volunteered to cover for me. I declined. I had ulterior motives. 4 years ago, fresh out of college, fate threw me into Ethan's orbit. Back then, he'd just broken away from the Hua family empire to start his venture. In 4 short years, he built it into an industry leader. I stood facing him, basking in his light but also casting my own shadow. Everyone in the company now refers to me respectfully as Emma, but that's only because I work beside him. The whispers never stopped, even to Ethan. I'm just replaceable. Only by leaving could I prove I earned my place through skill. There was also the rumor that he hired me at first glance because I resembled his white moonlight living abroad. I didn't believe it until Ava's interview that day. Ethan looked up, and for a fleeting moment, his eyes softened like he'd seen a ghost. That's when I knew, though this time, the office jokes didn't mention the first wife. They said, Ava kinda looks like Emma. Seems the boss has a type. Late that night, I stared at a photo on my phone and understood. Ava doesn't resemble me. She resembles his white moonlight more than I ever did. The photo was a snapshot of a palm-sized picture. A year ago, a janitor handed it to me. Secretary Gu. Mr. Hua threw this away. Should I discard it? I'll handle it. In the photo, a teenage Ethan smiled shyly beside a beautiful girl. They looked like a golden couple, both radiating aristocratic charm. On impulse, I secretly photographed it. When I returned the original to his desk, he glanced and froze mid-reach. I threw that away. She's married. I mentally kicked myself. I'll shred it for security. Never mind. Give it here. As our hands touched, an electric warmth shot through me. He probably forgot that moment that I never did. After briefing Ava about the dinner, Ms. Smith pulled me aside. When you were out, she wore Slitopheniville dresses. Don't teach her everything. I laughed it off. If Mr. Hua didn't scold her. He must like it. Besides, I'm not planning to follow Ethan forever. I stirred my coffee, watching my turbulent thoughts settle. At day's end, I placed milk on Ethan's desk as usual. He lounged with legs propped up, silhouette sharp against the window. Mr. Hua, I've prepped Zheng for tonight. Drink this before alcohol. He turned slightly, his gaze moved from the bottle to my face. Thinner. Then abruptly, am I not paying you enough? What? I immediately understood, my offhand comment to Ms. Smith had reached him already, fast but unsurprising, straightening. I said, I plan to resign once Zheng's fully trained. Thank you for these years, what's their offer? He frowned like negotiating a tough deal, like I was merchandise up for bids. I shook my head firmly. Not about money. Then what? Because I took Zheng. Not enough sick leave. You can voice dissatisfactions. His tone almost sounded coaxing. The golden light of the sunset caught his Adam's apple, his shadowed profile looked like carved marble. When I stayed silent, he loosened his tie and undid 2 buttons, exposing a sliver of chest. He massaged his temples. Eyes closed. Suddenly, the air thickened with something primal. I averted my gaze. Normally, he's impeccably professional around staff. Had Ava awakened something? His voice snapped me back. If it's about Zheng, I get it. If you're uncomfortable, no. I cut in. She's smart, perfect to replace me. He adjusted his cuffs, stood, and undid another button. The hint of toned pectorals made my face warm. I fanned myself. Weird spring weather, freezing yesterday, oiling today. We'll discuss my resignation later. Sir, you should leave soon. I told the driver to take you straight to Ethan Mansion if you're drunk. He looked at me with a predator-like intensity. Zheng can handle it. She'll take me home, maybe stay over if I want. I am a grown-ass man, after all. His tone was light. But his pink ears betrayed him. This was a pissing contest. Ava, 8 years younger, always had suitors sending flowers. Ethan, ruthless in business, was romantically inexperienced. His pettiness was almost endearing. If it weren't for someone else. I steadied myself and forced a smile. Size isn't everything, sir. True, but youth has stamina. No, that phrasing sounded familiar. Before I could ponder, my phone rang. He waved me out irritably, backing away. I answered my brother. You're at my office. Coming down. Outside, my brother leaned against a Bugatti in sunglasses, drawing stares. He blew kisses at gawking girls, causing squeals. Emma, your brother's so hot. Damn, sis is winning. Linjia, younger ones do hit harder. My face burned. I suddenly remembered, I'd said that exact line in the office. Had it reached Ethan? William shoved me into the passenger seat. I hissed. What's this act? He dropped the Playboy act. You said some creep was harassing you, that you used our photo to say I'm your boyfriend. Here to sell it. I laughed until tears came. You believe that? Whose car? Boss lent it. No one bullies my sister. Since when do I need protecting? I went to smack him but realized his shoulders had outgrown mine. 4 years apart. Yet it felt like lifetimes. Mom's death anniversary is soon. We'll go together. I can't get away, sis. Buy flowers for Mom for me. William slammed the brakes and jerked his chin toward the door. Gotta drive the boss back. Call me if you need anything. Icy wind knifed into my gut as I stepped out. Just then, Ethan's Maybach glided past, through the window. I saw Ava laughing beside his sharp profile. He'd even dismissed his driver to chauffeur her himself, watching the taillights disappear. I pulled up my phone, found the headhunter who messaged me as regularly as my period. Hit call, later. With beer and fried chicken. I gorged myself at home. The clock crawled so slowly I was startled awake at midnight to my ringing phone, only to hear heavy breathing on the line, the kind that sounded like someone being devoured whole. I lowered the phone, stared at the ceiling, and waited for the screen to die. Probably another bud dial, like mine last time. Here's a funny story. A year ago, Ethan couldn't stand me swiping my cracked to hell phone anymore, tossed me a brand new one from his cabinet. Disgusted. You're my face to the world. I won't be embarrassed. So I cradled that phone, identical to his, chewing over, "You're mine," like a lovesick fool, worked like a maniac and turned down countless offers, just to steal extra seconds near him, until 1 month ago, when I casually mentioned feeling unwell. Ethan's fingers paused on a project file. "Hire a backup. In case you get sick." I said, "Yes, Mr. Bois." While ice water seemed to drench my bones, that's when I knew, to him, I was always replaceable. Maybe that's why I collapsed soon after. Needing surgery. My first proper sleep in years happened on a hospital bed. I woke to William slumped beside me, eyes bloodshot. "When you said not to visit, I thought you'd abandoned me. Then I realized, you were hiding something. I shouldn't have avoided you these years. Next time, tell me." My brother, who ghosted me through 4 years in juvie, now hovered over me. Shadows in his eyes, which is why I had to leave. "Ethan, climb higher. Build a fortress for us." The next morning at the office, co-workers ambushed me. Ava dodged questions with suggestive smiles. "Don't be silly. Just work stuff." Where would I sleep? His place. Obviously. My address. So nosy. Ethan emerged, visibly pained by the scene, yet played along, chatting with staff. I pretended not to care, staring out the window. "Emma." His voice yanked me back. My office. Inside, his polite mask dropped. He slammed a folder down. "You know what group is my red line." "Why?" I smiled. "Liam Group pays better." Just making the rational career move. "You're not like them." "How am I different?" He gestured outside, eyes tinged red, voice strained from restraint. "To you, my company means nothing special. Just like how you need a backup to replace me anytime. I need to watch for better opportunities." The second it left my mouth, I cursed myself. Ethan's infamous for grudges. Why poke the bear now? I clenched my fists, ready to apologize, but his gaze unexpectedly softened. "Are you upset about the backup?" His deep voice had already melted me. That tender tone. Lethal, defenses crumbling. My voice wavered. "I admit it stung. But that's my issue." "No." He cut in. "My wording failed you. I worried about your health. You pushed too hard." Ha! This wasn't the Ethan I knew, the human calculator who fired loyal staff over tiny mistakes, yet here he was, apologizing. I sniffled, eyed his tissues, but wiped tears with my hand. He surged forward, thumb brushing my cheek, other hand catching my wrist. His palm burned against my racing pulse. We froze like idiots, locked in this accidental intimacy. I broke first, stepping back, only for my heel to catch the rug. His hand slid to my waist, pulling me flush against him. I braced against his chest. His scent, usually untouchable, exploded in my senses. When I looked up, he snapped, crushed his lips to mine. I shoved him off, gasping, "Sir, boundaries. I have a boyfriend." In the bathroom, cold water did nothing for my pulse. First Ava, now me. Was I just rebound fodder? And that heavy breathing call. "Emma, you okay?" Ava materialized beside me, offering makeup wipes. "You looked pale." So I followed. Miriam had smeared lipstick and ghostly skin. She rested her chin on my shoulder like a kitten. "Did Athange tell you? We're engaged." "He arranged my hiring, said you'd mentor me well." "I'm sorry, Emma. If I hadn't returned, he might have loved you. But Daddy said since sister broke Ethan's heart, I can't be selfish." "Shoo. Though, he'll spank me if I tell anyone early." Her peach blossom eyes watched me through the mirror. I pushed the whites away, clutching my elbows. "Thanks, but I don't share makeup." "Congrats. But we were just discussing my resignation." I exited first. Her ambush left me humiliated. A text buzzed. "Ethan. Tonight's cocktail party. You're attending." These events were strictly for execs. Ethan never brought dates. Unsure of his game, and unwilling to be his pawn, I prepped professionally, delivering warmed milk to his office. "Sir, we leave in 10. Emma, I need to explain. I know about Ava." "Don't worry, I won't talk. I didn't mean to deceive you. Boss's happiness comes first." Before he could retort, I left. The silence lasted until arrival. I exited the car, and choked, seeing Ava step out of a Bugatti nearby. William's borrowed car, she trotted over. Ithange. Why bring Emma? She's family. Daddy couldn't come, so he sent me. Oh, about that car you asked after. She waved at William, now parking. Emma G. Funny, your brother drives for my dad. But Daddy's super nice. Say hi to Mr. Hua, your sister's boss. William bowed stiffly. Sir. Ethan studied him. Then me. This is your boyfriend. Suddenly playful. He gestured inside. Since he's here, let's all enjoy the party. I blocked William. He dislikes these events. Ava intercepted my arm. Emma G. Scared he'll embarrass you. William tugged my sleeve subtly, needing this job. I relented. Watching Ethan chat amiably with AVA.SO, this was his relaxed side. Execs swarmed them with drinks. Ethan pivoted toward me. This is Emma. Treat her well at Hua Group. Miss Emma. The woman who made Mr. Hua kneel to his father. Impressive. Piece by piece. I learned. Ethan, fearing I'd suffer backlash at Hua Group, had knelt to beg old man Hua's forgiveness. The old man, waiting years for this, instantly relented. Tonight was Ethan's declaration. Emma has my protection. My throat tightened. I downed drink after drink, then stumbled to Ethan. I'm sorry. I should have talked properly. I didn't know you'd do this. Thought you hated me. Tears spilled as his shadow enveloped me under the lights. It felt like being wrapped in a warm embrace. He gave a faint smile, his outstretched hand pausing midair before withdrawing. His voice was gentle yet firm. Emma, how could I ever hate you? You need to believe, you're far more remarkable than you think. Before I could process his words, a commotion erupted across the room. Screams turned into curses. Murderer! How did he get in here? I pushed through the crowd to find William kneeling on the floor, his eyes wide with terror as he apologized profusely. That's the kid who killed his father years ago. How did he sneak in? I shoved the woman aside and pulled William up. We're leaving. Bystanders blocked our path, shoving us until a familiar voice cut through the noise. Stop. Ethan stood there, his expression icy. You owe an apology. He glared at the woman, recognizing him. She immediately deflated. Me. Apologize for what? Ethan adjusted his cufflinks, his gaze sharp enough to draw blood. Unless you'd like to be banned from every high society event in this city. Before she could retort, Ava materialized out of nowhere. Ithange, don't fight. She's my friend. Emma G. She just got scared. Please don't take it to heart. Okay. William suddenly wrenched his hand from mine and laughed bitterly. Do I know you? Why are you butting in? I froze, realizing he was trying to protect me from the gossip. Then he bolted into the night. Whispers followed. That case 4 years ago, the 15-year-old who killed his dad. Huge scandal. His father was a drunk, a gambler, abusive. The kid was protecting his mother. The fluorescent lights and buzzing voices grew surreal. My vision darkened. I woke to Ethan dozing beside my hospital bed, dark circles under his eyes. William's fine. I had someone take him home. He answered my unspoken question, then scolded. Low blood sugar, malnourished, exhausted. Do I not pay you enough to afford meals? I forced a weak smile. Sir, if you keep being this nice, I might not want to leave. He toyed with a water cup, feigning nonchalance. Then don't. Backing out of Hua Group now would blacklist me. What then? Before he could respond, hurried footsteps interrupted. Ava breezed in with a thermos. Emma G. Hospital food sucks. Eat this. Once you're better. I'll drag that friend of mine here to apologize properly. Her sincerity seemed genuine. Then I remembered, she was the daughter of a business partner. Pushing this would only hurt Ethan's company. William's past is real. Can't blame people for being scared. Let's drop it. Ava beamed. Just like Ithange said, you're so forgiving. We should go. He promised me dinner tonight. She glanced at Ethan, who followed her out without a word. William visited later, his usual energy gone. After a long silence, he whispered. Sorry. I hugged him. You did nothing wrong. We're done talking about it. Okay. Strangely calm, he said. I'll make something of myself. Yeah. Hey, You like Mr. Hua, don't you? I can tell he likes you, too. He grinned like a kid begging for bedtime stories, an expression I hadn't seen in years. That I ruffled his hair. Yeah, I like him, but he's out of my league. Besides, he's engaged to your boss's daughter. Let's just focus on our own lives. Okay. He nodded. That I closed my eyes. This unrequited love was like chewing on a sour plum, no meat to savor. Just acid I couldn't bring myself to spit out. I woke to find William gone. His phone off. That I yanked out my phone and raced to Zheng Corporation, just as Ethan's team exited. Who said you could leave the hospital? He demanded. A slap came flying at me. Ethan caught the wrist in midair. Ava, eyes puffy, screamed. It's confirmed. William kidnapped my dad. And you're protecting her. That murderer's sister is just as vile. Hand her over now, and I'll pretend I never heard what you said last night. Or are you choosing her over our engagement? Ethan shielded me. His voice steel. There was never an engagement. Your sister and I were a mistake our parents arranged. Thank God she walked away. I've known about Emma's past from day one. That's why I understand her pain better than anyone. You put William near your father. You knew this would happen. The truth unfolded. Ava had hired William Postjuvie to control me, but in her digging, she'd uncovered something darker. The mother William tried to save from their abusive father. She was the Zheng family's housemaid and was repeatedly assaulted by Ava's dad until she became pregnant. We found them at the wild lake where our mother used to take us, her unmarked grave nearby. Ava's father knelt before it, his forehead bleeding as he kowtowed. William stood over him with a knife. Ethan approached slowly. Xiao Mo. Give me the blade. I'll take care of you and your sister from now on. No one will hurt you again. And I'll make sure he pays. Okay. William smiled like he did as a child. I'm useless. I couldn't even kill this bastard. He turned the knife toward his chest. Ethan lunged, grabbing the blade. Blood bloomed across his palm. When William woke in the ICU, I brought good news. Ava's father had kowtowed until he gave himself brain damage. Now haunted by hallucinations, the Zheng Empire was crumbling, though Ethan, bustling around us, never claimed credit. After years of seeing only his ruthless side, I finally witnessed his mercy. He'd quietly destroyed them for us. I showed up at Hua Group as promised. Ms. Smith, now Ethan's secretary, bombarded me with texts. Where's the boss? He's never late. Unless he's crying over missing his GF. LOL. A shadow fell over me. My phone vanished. Sorry I'm late, sweetheart, Ethan murmured, lips at my ear. He pointed to his office door. First order of business. Replace that with Emma's darling. Second, come inside. He locked the door. Pinned me against the wall, breath hot on my neck. Nothing to ask me, like why you got that heavy breathing call, or why I accidentally didn't shred that photo. He nuzzled my cheek. You're so dense, darling. I punched his arm. You're ridiculous. Not ridiculous. Just grown. I tilted my chin up. How grown? Wanna find out? His mouth crashed down, one hand sliding lower. Should we really? Here. He nipped my lip. You're the CEO's wife now. Be as reckless as you want.